It's exactly 13 minutes into the hour. It's 8:13 a.m. Thank you very much for choosing Look Up TV. We are glad you are watching. And just to remind you, this big conversation is coming to you on the 15th of March, the year 2022. Incredible Tuesday it is. Just looking at, are you happy at the end of the day? I know we all want to put food on the table. Pay the bills. Now the fuel is going up. You want to make sure your gas is intact so you can get from point A to point B and deliver. We have seen a lot of stress levels go up. We have seen people, have a lot of contention at work. People look depressed in those matatus for some reason, and you're wondering, isn't it a good day? They just don't want to go to work. Some people just smile at the end of the month, but from the beginning towards the 28th, So the question is, what is a toxic work environment? What is the healthy work environment? And how does this then affect you personally in your growth, in your development? The two gentlemen who are making my panel today have done incredible strides that did catch our attention as the morning drift, and we thought, well, let's hear their stories on set. Now they are bosses of many others, but there was a starting point. Gentlemen, I did not get the memo, but I don't know if I said the dress code was white.
We tried. I think we were in the speech.
How are you?
We are very fine.
You kept time. That really shows some discipline and leadership skills right there.
Thank you.
So please introduce yourselves to the viewer. I like to give that moment. Of course, I know your profiles, but so the viewer can connect with you at the conversation level. I'll start with you, and then we'll come to Brian.
Thank you. My name is Julian Juguna. I'm the CEO and founder of Potter's Hand Production. Potter's Hand Production is a media company that works with artists. We do music production, we do photography, we do sound consultancy in various companies that are dealing with sound and sound engineering. And we're happy to be in the business.
You're happy to be in the business.
Yes,
a lot of this is going to go the entrepreneurship way. Thank you very much for creating time. And I know a lot of people are watching. Some know your story, some don't, but they're doing follow-ups and seeing how far you have gone. Brian Ochieng, good morning. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Please say good morning and what we expect.
Good morning. I'm Brian Ochieng. I'm a fitness entrepreneur. I'm a trainer. Also run a security firm. A lot of people are thinking, okay, both of you guys are saying, well, I do this, I run this, I'm the CEO here. And I'm curious, have you been employed before? I'll start with the CEO here, whose story in a nutshell is you've not been employed your entire life except for 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, yes. From when I finished, I cleared high school, I knew I never wanted employment because I had already seen the kind of stress people go through and working from 8 to 5. And I thought to myself, why don't I do something on my own and get to the heights that I would want to get to? So my entire life I got to be employed under someone for only 2 weeks, and it didn't go well, and I quit.
And you said you started having this instinct from when you were at high school.
Yes.
I'm coming back to why it was only 2 weeks, all right? We're coming back to that, but let me hear Brian's story. Have you been employed before, worked under someone whatsoever for any period of time?
I've been employed before. I've worked with numerous people. I've worked in under security sectors. I've worked in clubs. I've worked as a bouncer, and I've also been a reporter.
Great!
To a radio station in Kisumu.
You wear a lot of hats, but you still said, you know what? Now I'm going to venture into something else and do it on my own. Reminds me of one, the late Whitney Houston song. It's time for me to do it on my own. She's quite legendary. And now the 2 weeks.
Yes.
I'm still curious. You said from the onset you just didn't feel right about being employed, but you gave it a try. Why did you give it a try, and why did you quit?
I gave it a try because of financial instability, of course. At that young age, I didn't have money, and I knew I wanted to make money. That is the notion that we had been given from the young age. We wanted to make money, so I said, let me try and see if it can set me somewhere, so that I can do whatever I want to do. I always knew that I wanted to do music, but I needed a stepping stone to get to where I am right now. So I tried. I worked under someone for only 2 weeks and it was bad. You work from 8 to 5,
yes,
being supervised, being bashed, being told all sorts of things. You are giving your best shot, but it's not good enough.
Okay.
It's not good enough. So I quit and I didn't even get my salary. I let it go.
Wow.
And that was history.
He's talking about being bashed, being told you're not good enough.
Yeah.
A lot of people go through that, and we have been told this is just leadership skills. Bosses always do that. I mean, people have normalized. Your boss is always going to be tough on you because that should be better. Yeah. Brian, why did you quit? What was this turnaround for you when you said, okay, this is enough, let me do my own Brian, thing?
I stopped because I felt I was ready to take the mantle and do everything for myself.
Okay.
But I do appreciate the employers, those who gave me that opportunity. At least I learned some skills while I was working for them, so that I can also be able to start my own thing. Yeah.
I like when you say it, I appreciate, and you also said it was a stepping stone.
Yes.
Most of the times when we go through our curriculum, especially those who are in the universities, and you know what I mean, the graduates or graduates to be, there's the idea of go to school, perform well, then get a good job, get some good money. So at the end of the day, we're not even looking at the skills. We just want to get the money.
Yes.
Then you get to a working environment, and it's either healthy or toxic. But can we find out today, like for your case, Julian, I feel like it was a bit toxic. He appreciated his environment. We don't know if there was toxicity, but for yours, it was pretty much, it came out like toxic. So how does the person watching back at home get to pick signs that this is not any other work environment, this is a bit toxic?
Yes, when we talk about toxic work environment, we will not leave the matter and the issue about mental health. These are things that go hand in hand, because when we have a toxic work environment, people go through stress and they end up having mental issues. I'll give a very good example during this time of the COVID pandemic. People have gone through very many issues related to work because of the companies not knowing how to handle transitions, you see, and that brings about mental health, the conversation about mental health.
Yes.
People go through so many things inside the working premises, and it has been the major insight about people even taking their lives, and it has been a challenge. It has been a challenge. So when we talk about toxic work environment, we need to first dig into what is toxic, what is a toxic work environment. We need to demystify, and so that, because people are in jobs and in bad working environment, but they don't know it. They don't know it. So we need first to define what toxic work environment. And a toxic work environment is an environment where the employees are not being given the space to grow. They cannot grow in career because of the negative energies that are in the workplaces. As soon as you get that a feeling of there is negative working environment, you will know that you're in a toxic environment. When
you say lack of growth, do you mean stagnation?
Yes.
Is it you're not growing in your skills, you're not able to expand your knowledge, or is it that you are just not growing financially? When you say growth, what do you mean?
Growth,
and I would love your sentiments as well after.
Yeah, growth, it's in both aspects. In both aspects, that career-wise, if you're starting your career, where you are 2 years ago is not where you are right now. When you're working in a toxic work environment, you will not be able to grow that talent that you have, because there are hurdles everywhere. Where you go, there is a hurdle. So it limits your growth. Yes.
Brian, do you share the same sentiments about growth and how that then translates to toxicity in the work environment?
Yeah, I agree with him. When it becomes toxic, definitely it will limit your growth.
Yes.
But you also have to look at it on the other side. You know, your employer, they are pushing you to do your best. They're trying to bring the best out of you. And then they may overdo it, and that's actually what bring that toxicity. Yeah.
And the employers are watching. You guys are also employers.
Yeah.
When you talk about overdoing, you know, sometimes when the employer is trying to push, you know, the best out of you, they probably don't know they're overdoing it. How do you do it? Because maybe they also don't realize it. The same way the other people may not realize it in a toxic environment, the employer is also not realizing they're overdoing the pushing.
Yeah, so I'm keen on feedback from my people, from those people who work for me. I interact with them on personal basis. I get to know, I get to ask them, now, how do you feel about this? How do you feel if we implement this? I always try to get their opinion before I implement something. You
know, someone once said there's a difference between a boss and a leader.
Yeah.
So that's why we're seeing a boss is pushy. Is it? I'm not really. I'm not. I think it's relative. Yeah. But a leader has that kind of interaction that you're talking about. Let's look at the healthy one. Healthy work environment, because it seems to me like a very thin line. Because at some point, if you don't supervise people as well, things might go down there, you know? So when is it healthy?
When we talk about now a healthy working environment, we will now touch on now the boss part and the leader. We have different types of leadership in work environments. Now, the first one is boss. And then boss is the pushy one, the one who will say, get this done, get this done, get this done. Then we have a leader.
Yes.
A leader who will show you how it's done.
Show you how it's done.
Done. Okay. And number 3, there is now the servant leader. There is a boss, a leader, and a servant leader. A boss will be pushy. A leader will show you how it's done. And then now a servant leader will get his hands dirty. And be part of the growth in the company. So now if it starts with the high ranks, if the work environment should be good, it should start from the high ranks. The CEO, the HR manager, the supervisors, all need to work in harmony so that we can have a good work environment.
I like when you touch on the hierarchy, and I want to talk about, you know, like you have a lot of employees now, and you do realize that they come to work happy, they enjoy fitness, it's part of, you're doing sound, you know. I don't know if you have employed older people in your security firm. What is the age group you're talking about now who are in your respective, you know, companies?
And talk about bouncers, we employ from the age of 24. Yeah.
What's the maximum?
Maximum it go up to 40. It will also depend, you know, as you continue to work, you grow, experience increases. So we also consider those above 30.
Those above 30.
Yeah.
That's a good age group. I didn't expect that, and I'd love to hear from you as well. With music, sound, engineering, and everything else, what is the age group you're working with?
We work from, our company deals with people and employ people from early as 20 years old. There are people who have not gotten the chance to go to campus and they want to venture into business. So we get from 20 years old, and the oldest person I've worked with in sound engineering is about 45 to 50 years old.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking this question is currently people are saying in the 21st century, and these two generations, Y and Z, the youth, they say, are not patient enough, are not, you know, don't take orders, and they don't have values, they don't have work ethics. So that has been the reason that we either shift to our own thing. And I do not know, because you're working with the same age group, so maybe we'd hear from you guys. Is it the intolerance from the youth that is now making everything look toxic? Or is it, you know, is it really just a balance that we're not getting to strike?
Well, I will say the young people right now are very aggressive. Are very aggressive in terms of they want to get things done. We are the microwave generation. We want to get things done as fast as we can, and be on the move. I will tell you for a fact, like now I started my company in 2014, a very young person. I didn't know what it entails, but I wanted to get to where I am right now and even greater heights.
Yes.
So I I involved someone and I asked them, how should I go about this? Told me it will take you around 20 years to set your footing and all that. But I didn't think about that. I didn't feel it as if it was the right thing. I knew I could get my company on the feet in 5 years and be doing great things.
Okay.
So our generation is very aggressive. The older generation is a bit slower and they are keen to details. Very keen to details. They say slow but sure. But with the times that we are in, with the technology that we have, we can get things done perfectly within a short time.
Is this where you're talking about the shifts?
Exactly.
So you don't want to stay at work 8 to 5. I want to hear from Brian now. Your employees, you know, I'm not sure, do they work from 8 to 5 or overtime? Because there are things people have said. Can you please normalize going home on time and sleeping enough? Do your employees get that?
Yeah. When you talk about now clubs, you know, clubs operate mostly at night, so they work in shift. Yeah. So you have a balanced shift. Those you go to work early, then you leave early, and then there's someone who will take after you. Yeah. So we have a balanced shift.
All right.
And then the fitness also. The fitness also, timing is an issue, because you have clients who goes to work and want to work out at night. Okay. Yeah. And also early in the morning.
So isn't that toxic?
Yeah.
Is it toxic?
It's kind of hard, but when you are doing something which you love, you are willing to sacrifice, willing to wake up at 4 a.m., go and smash the workout. Yeah.
And I was going to go to when you do something that you love. You see, economy has put us in a place. Fuel prices are going up.
Yeah.
Last time we were #lower food prices in Kenya. Do we have the luxury in Kenya to do what you love? Or do you have the only option to deal with the toxic environment, because at the end of the day you have to put food on the table? Is it possible to do what you love in Kenya and still earn?
It is very possible, because now this is what I've always loved.
Yes.
But now the majority population of Kenya, they are doing these because at the end of the month they need to pay bills. Most people are not doing what they even went to school for, because they went to school because they had a passion in medicine. But now when they get to the medicine industry, it's not what they thought of. They will get a job just to pay bills. And that's where the problem is. Most people are in professions that they didn't go to school for. But for example, now for me, I have always wanted to do music. I had an issue with my dad is watching, and he didn't want me to play music as early as in high school. He wanted me to do law. My mom told me I will look very good in working in a bank, but that's not what I wanted. I knew very well from the onset that I wanted to do music. And I worked my way around until I got to do what I love, I enjoy. I can do it until late in the night.
Okay.
When we talk about now, me being an employer, and now am I treating the people who are in my office?
Yeah, I'm coming to that, because I want to hear both of you and how you are now handling the rest. Yeah. Because you had a reason for not working under someone for quite some time. Yes. Now I want to know how you're treating your employees. And please, if you're watching your bosses, I'd love to hear, ask them questions today. I might keep your names, just say anonymous, all right? Don't worry about it.
We will know them.
You will know them. Brian, for you though, he's saying this is what he wanted. He felt he got a bit of opposition here and there, but he worked his way through it. Did you get opposition as well, but still, wedged your way into your career right now?
For me, my background, from where I come from, many people do work out. So it's something that it had an influence on me. And in Kisumu, many youths work out. They are into fitness, boxing, although self-defense and all that. So if you are around that setting, it's very difficult to get out without going to that kind of sport.
All right. So you just got to continue with what you loved doing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're in a field doing something you feel, suffocated doing. We'd love to walk that journey with you this morning. We're talking about toxic versus healthy work environments. At the end of the day, a lot of Kenyans have said, tutakula nini. So we're just pretty much stuck there for the reason of putting food on the table. What if there was an alternative? Because the gentlemen here are actually young, but doing something for themselves that they love doing. I want to understand now, in the position that you sit, all right, if we came in to supervise and check how your employees are doing, we will rate you at what, between 1 and 10, in terms of healthy work environment and relationships? Are your employees happy?
I would say I'm 100% sure that they are happy, because first thing first, I was running away from employment because I knew what bosses do and people in the high ranks do to people. In my company, I've not said that you have to be in the office. You can do your things as long as the work that you've been given is done.
All right.
That is the bottom line. As long as your work is done, you can go do other side hustles, because I believe that someone who is free is even more, can do much more than when he's stuck there in that office, sitting in that office from 8 to 5. That's being toxic. So I allow them to do whatever they feel like as long as the work is done. Okay,
Brian. That's how he works with his employees. So long as your work is done, go do other side hustles. Tricky, because for other fields, you don't double deal. It is very interesting when he says, be flexible and do other hustles. Very, very interesting. I'm going to take a short breather, but of course we are coming back right here. But before we take that short breather, let me hear from Brian. Brian, how do you ensure that, your people are happy? And of course, rate them between 1 to 10, are they happy? And they're watching.
So for me, I decided to increase our production value. We decided it's more of a teamwork. What I can do, my employees can also do it as well. So it's more of a teamwork, and it really makes work easier. Yeah, and teamwork makes me interact with them on personal basis. And it's just so easy.
So we don't get this much, in the past centuries, bosses and employees, teamwork, quite interesting. When you sit at the board, you wouldn't see much of that. You wouldn't hear a boss say, we are working as a team. When we talk about interpersonal, now we're looking at employees versus employees. We're looking about, talking about toxic environment. You've worked with people. When do you know my colleagues are toxic? Period. This is not working. When do you tell the signs that your employees don't have healthy competition? Yeah.
I think the first thing boils down to communication. How employees communicate will tell so much about the working environment. If you enter in an office and find people are just quiet, very quiet, you will get to know that there is something wrong. There's always a tension building up every time. People are not free asking each other questions or even coaching each other. You will get to know that there is the working environment is toxic. Yes.
People are not consulting.
Yes, they are not
consulting. Who's going to do better?
Yes.
Brian, do you agree that or how do you tell that now when I look at my employees, this is getting toxic? Their interaction is not looking good.
You can read from the mood and the facial expression.
Mood? How do you read mood?
Yeah, I know that's a tough one, but when someone is not reporting to job early the way he or she used to do, you will sense that something is wrong. You get to talk to him or her. He'll tell you that such thing is happening, and it's hindering my performance.
I just picked something there. Someone doesn't come to work as they used to.
Yeah.
The delivery has gone down. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a warning letter that you are not doing your best. At what point do we start to, people say, issue threats to our employees for that matter? Because warning letter 1, warning letter 2, when does it get to the point where warnings become toxic? Or unfair? Because I'm just trying to learn from you guys, your employers, you know, and employers are watching this morning as well. And employees need to know this is why you get a warning letter, this is when it's not toxic, this is when it's a threat. And then we come to sexual assault and issues of violence as well.
Yes, when you get to notice that someone has stopped doing what they are supposed to do, or in the manner that they are supposed to do it, the normalcy that has been there is that people are being bashed, people will be bashed and all those things. But I realized that talking to your employees and making that friendly environment with them. Yes, you are the boss, you are their head, but allowing them to have free conversations. It will be very easy spotting this issue and talking to them even without warning letters in the first place. You see, so I will, what I do myself, I have interactions with them. We go for lunch.
Oh, really?
Yes, we do go for lunch, eat together, and in the middle of those conversations, they will point out things that they are not happy with, or something that they are going through, and hence now I will get to understand why is this person not being effective in the work that they do. But now when it gets to a point that it's no longer controllable, that's when now you get to issue a letter. And the wordings of the letter are very crucial.
Okay.
The wordings of the letter are very crucial because we don't want to shatter someone's dream. They might be going through something that they are not able to speak up. It might be from the family or something. The best way is to first get to know what they are going through, and if they persist in not achieving the set goals, now you get now to the letter. But the letter has to be very, very kind, so that this person can understand where you're coming from as the boss, and what is expected of them.
All right.
Yes.
I like the approach. Brian, what is your approach? Do you agree with that sentiment?
I do agree. If someone is productive and the level of production decreases, you first need to have a conversation with that person. If you are not in a position to get someone who is closer to that person, who he or she will be free to share ideas. Yeah. So first thing, you need to have a conversation. Yeah.
All right. I'm looking at, we're coming back to talk about sexual assault. You guys are male leaders, you're male employees. A lot of women will talk about, well, this is not the kind of man you see as a CEO. When they report, pretty much because you have the power and the influence, they are not believed as victims, And that is another side of the, toxicity versus the health discussion that we're going to have. Because you guys look really candid, you look presentable, you look like you're understanding leaders. But what if there are dark sides to leadership or to bosses that, people hardly want to still talk about? I know it's been said before, but you have stepped away from the, say, analog way of leadership. How are you protecting your employees from sexual assaults or threats, or what we call supervisors literally ensuring you are not growing? That's in a short while right here with the CEOs on the big conversation. Let me also know if you're going through something with your boss and you don't know how to approach it. We're here to guide you, to walk this journey with you right here on The Morning Drift. Don't go too far away. We're just beginning really. On the second segment, it's going to get hotter with the questions and the answers. We're glad you are watching Look Up TV. This is hashtag The Morning Drift, and now we're getting into the big conversation way deeper. And we want to take a look at what has always been reported, sexual assault, and of course solutions to this. Most of the times the men have been made the perpetrators and the female employees the victims. And of course right here are young men who have founded organizations and now employed the many unemployed youth. Some have quit their jobs because they say, "Mom, mimi nimechoka." Most people just say, "I'm quitting my job tomorrow." They're like, "Why are you quitting?" "I'm just tired." All right, those are the kind of responses we get. And of course, Moses Katumo is saying, "Big up, brother." I don't know which of the two is brother. And Sesmo Time saying, "Good morning, Anki." Good morning, Sesmo. How are you? And he says, "Is pressure also part of healthy working environment? Because employees end up suffering from stress and depression just because he or she is being pressurized." Trust me, if you are speaking about pressure, I'm in the media and I'd love to hear that as well. Gentlemen, each your perspective is pressure part of healthy environment. I'll start with Brian on this one.
Pressure comes about when they need you to deliver, and if it is overstretched, now it will affect you, because you are getting pressure from your employees. They need you to deliver within maybe a short duration. Time frame also matters. So when it is overstretched, when the employees go hard on you, it becomes it's affect you.
I have picked a detail from Brian. I want to ask Brian's employees if Brian is okay with you guys, because he said employees can also pressurize their bosses. Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
So when you're looking at work environments, toxic and healthy, sometimes employees also make it difficult for their supervisors and their bosses. Because what he has said has really stood out for me. What do you think?
I believe it's true what he's saying. I'll tell you now, because I'm working in a media company. We indulge in technology so much. Pressure will come from employees most of the time when I want things get done. I want a project to be completed, but am I offering the infrastructure to do this? So I'll get pressure from the employees to probably get the best machine in town right now, and the same kind of pressure will push you to some limits, and then you get to breaking point.
You also burn out.
Yes, you also burn out, because you're human at the end of the day. But it's from the pressure that you're giving them to deliver that it will also give you back to hand them the tools, the tools of work. So pressure is there.
But it's talked about overstretching. So there's realistic pressure.
Yeah.
And there is just the overdone pressure that now gets people suicidal, because you wonder how people were happy at work but still took their lives or died by suicide. Have you ever thought of that? Someone just has looked okay, doing their work properly. Anki was always smiling on TV. She looked great, but she died by suicide. Do you guys ever follow up on such stories? Because I see employees and colleagues come to funerals. What is the role of the work environment in ensuring that someone is okay mentally, even when they go home? Because people say it's work pressure that makes my dad beat my mom. Such stories. Brian?
I think people should open up. Whenever you're going through something, you should vent it out, let it out. Talk to someone closer to you, and try and find a solution. Yeah.
But people should talk. Yeah. Then that means it's very important to have a HR.
Yes.
This is a position that is hardly talked about.
Yes.
What is your perspective on the HR, human resource?
The human resource manager is someone who has been given the job to look over and look into the matters of employees, and the first thing that the role of a HR is, the first thing is recruitment and hiring and firing. So this is the person who has been mandated to get to make a decision on who gets the job or who doesn't get the job. So other things like they are also entrusted with things like training. We have also performance management. We also have employee relation, and this is the crucial part.
All right.
The HR is the person who is supposed to be supervising all the employees to having a great working relation. And when there is failure in from the HR manager, you will find that the environment will always be toxic. Now, HR managers have a problem also, because you'll see that the HR department is supposed to be very, very strict and independent.
Independent.
Okay. But now you'll find that the CEO will overstep into the HR so that things can be done on his terms. But HR department should be very independent, and we should not have any interference. So it will help the employees be very close to each other, and their working environment will be okay.
So I think what we're saying today is that everyone should be able to reach out to a HR. I mean, if you're going through something, let not the CEO overstep. That's what you're saying. He pretty much doesn't have as much power to fire you, because we've gotten threats, you know, people talking about, you know, things here and there about, well, he is the CEO. Most of the times you hear of a company, you're like, Chief Executive Officer, sir, or madam. No one really thinks the HR holds as much power, right?
Yes.
Now I want to hear your last remarks, though, on talking about, you know, the analog versus the digital when it comes to work relationships. Most of these companies are headed by older people, yet employees are younger people. Is this the disconnect? Maybe the older people don't know how to relate with the younger employees. What would you say now that you've worked closely with the younger generation? What is it that the older people can pick from your style of leadership?
But before we get into that, I think we need both brains. We need from the older people and also from the younger people. You know, older people possess some experience which can impact or can be helpful when you are running your business. For me, most of the time, I get to talk to those above me in terms of age, and then ask them how do we go about situations.
Yes.
Yeah. So my idea is, I think we need both. We need both for a business to move in the right direction. We need both. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the bashing and the bossy, you know, might not really work for the young generation, but leadership would.
A company on his own, a real estate company, and actually that company helped me to get to know how to deal with people. So the gap between the older generation and the young generation should be bridged, because we need each other. At the same time, the older generation should understand that things are moving fast. These days, things are moving fast. We started from the edge network connectivity. We went to the 3G to 4G, and we have 5G. And we cannot compare the two. There is a big gap in between. So the older generation should understand that we, the young people, are hot-blooded. We want to get things done very quickly. But also the young people need to understand that the wisdom that comes with the older generation is extensive, very extensive. And so we should have that bridge that will connect us. Having team buildings and all those things, activities that will bring people together. Yes, we will talk about Safaricom, a big company.
Just mention a brand, yes?
Yes. The CEO and the person who is at the call center, customer service.
Yes.
It seems like a very big gap, but we can work towards integrating the two generations, so that we can have something from the young generation and something from the older generation.
All right.
Still on that, we need to understand when you're talking about human resource, nobody has a monopoly of knowledge. So that's why we need to share these skills. And sharing of the skills, I think, is healthy work environment, a healthy competition. You know, someone said, you know, can we scrap off this Employee of the Year awards? You know, does it make some people feel less of employees? What do you guys think? Is it positive or a negative energy within, you know, a company? Because I think it's positive.
What do you think?
I also think it's positive.
Okay.
Crowning someone an employee of the year or of the month will actually give a challenge to the people who are not performing well, because they will see that there is something that will come in working hard. The problem is that now the young generation know very well, as much as I work hard, at the end it will not reflect in my paycheck. The paycheck will be the same.
And they say that is toxic.
Very toxic. It's toxic. But at the same time, it's true. There is truth in that.
I want to get back to Brian. I'm about to conclude, and I'm looking at, the input and the paycheck.
For me, I hold the view that the reward should be proportional to the effort someone is putting. Yeah. So if someone is striving, the reward should be rewarding. Yeah.
Okay, because that is motivating.
Yeah, that's
if it isn't, then it becomes depriving, draining, and that's when the young generation, like you say, they're hot-blooded and aggressive, say, well, I quit. All right, let's see. Of course, James Pluto's saying, Julian Banga, a wise man. I have worked for him. He's a good boss.
Thank you.
All right, finally an employee, ascertains and assures us that you guys are not just talking, that you really are good bosses. And we want to appreciate each and every person who has been watching the Morning Drift today. Gentlemen, you have really, oozed wisdom right here. And to hear young people have said young people are not able to, put things straight and run companies, because even Kenyans were saying, can't we now have a way younger president? But you have shown us that you can actually have things organized and running, and thank you very much for that representation. I don't know if you have, social media handles, because you're a fitness, instructor. I was going to touch on the sexual assault, but I thought they can ask further questions later on your social media platforms. How do we get you, Brian?
Yeah, on Facebook, I'm Fit Brian. On Instagram, fit_Brian KE. Then on YouTube, Fit Brian KE.
Okay.
Yeah, there you'll get the workouts, all the workouts that you may need. Home workouts, gym workouts, yeah, everything.
It's actually very evident that you're passionate, because as he's speaking about it, he's smiling. You can get anything you need. It's not the face like, I don't want to talk about a brand, I'm not representing well. So it's really good to see you show that. And of course, CEO Mwenyewe for everyone who loves to do music.
Yes.
How do we get you on social media?
On Facebook, it's Potter's Hand Production with a very big red logo. They will get to see it. On Instagram is Potter's_hand_production. The same logo, you'll see a red, and we are located in Komarok Estates. When you Google, you get to see it. Thank you.
Thank you for such eloquence. I am taking a short breather, and remember, learn to check, your environment. And somebody said, let's normalize, sleeping enough, doing what you love. We want to see less of frustrated people in matatus. Can we have people interacting with positive energy in public because they actually love what they're doing? Also remember that it is okay to speak to your HR, your rights, and be very, very positive when it comes to work. And if you have to shift, get some advice, all right? Remember, you just don't have to work to exist. You have to leave, and that's why the Morning Drift thought it is wise for us to have this conversation, so that the sobriety check is brought in back in the companies, and working relationship is treated just as crucial as any other national issue. Remember, there's the Employment Act. I'd advise you to actually read that and understand your legal rights in that work environment. They also mentioned something about relating with, your colleagues. If it seems negative, and of course, Sesmod, we mentioned the pressure could be overstretched. Just keep the check, keep the balance, because at the end of the day, you can be fired, you can be sacked, but your skills can stick with you, and you can be a founder just like the two gentlemen. Please stay alive and enjoy your work this morning. If you're headed to work, I hope that positivity runs with you and you can internalize it and radiate it. Gentlemen, thank you. I take a short breather. We come back with I Can't Wait the extraordinary. We'll be right back.